Greetings Hex and Counter players, and thanks for following my look at Wargame Design Studio Panzer campaigns Normandy 44, Scenario 30, Operation Overlord, and we're up to 1800 hours on the 6th of June 1944, or turn 8 of 250, and this is episode 4. As we approach the evening of the first day, as you would expect, the Battle of the Beachheads is coming to its final phases, and even here on Omaha it's only now a matter of time before the Americans break out there. At Gold and Juno, the British and Canadians have well and truly established themselves beyond the beachhead. And on Sword Beach, similar. It has been inferred by many gamers that the AI is as thick as a block of wood. And that may be the case maybe into the mid and late game as the game gets more open. But certainly in the opening phase, I think the AI has done everything you would reasonably expect it to, given that the designer has more influence over the opening moves than, say, the AI has more control, total control in the mid and late games. For instance, these leading elements of the British were actually making a run for Caen, but I was able to get some reserves from 21 Panzer into location, and in the last turn they've actually withdrawn from this area here. Also, I thought it was a good move here by the Brits to jump over this bridge and take this bridge across the river, and they've done similar things in other areas of the map here. I'd also like to bring your attention to the Carantan area. It was quite interesting in that the Americans actually have made a run across the river here in an effort to get to Carantan, but as I mentioned in previous turns, I've been pretty thorough in blocking off that route for the reasons discussed previously. But the AI has actually got one up on me at this stage, and that's at this location just here, Z, and you'll see there's a bridge here, steel bridge over there, and these chaps, these airborne chaps, have managed to capture the southern side of the river. Now fortunately this bridge here is only suitable for infantry and things like that, but nevertheless their goal could have been to capture this steel bridge here at Etienneville. Now I mentioned the Luftland division previously, and originally my idea was to put all the Luftland guys over here north of the river to try and protect this area around here. And I mentioned my paratroopers down here at Carantan, and of course, as a bit of an oversight, there was this massive area in here I sort of left a little bit thin. Now I had these very weak tank unit with the French tanks, the Renault F-17, so they're busy trying to block out these airborne division units and getting smashed a bit. So I've had to quickly move I'm hoping about a regiment, I suppose, of the Luftland division, trying to move them into here to bottle these guys up in the swamp. And also I feel it's going to be inevitable that I'm going to lose Etienneville. I'm hoping to get this engineer here, maybe across the river, or if I have to on this side, I'll get him to attempt to blow that bridge as well. So I'd like to give the AI a little bit of an honour for actually doing something reasonably intelligent, and I'm sure the AI designer would have had these ideas in mind. So keep an eye on the AI. It will give you some clues where to put your defence. Previously I mentioned Pooperville, As you can see, the Americans have now captured that village. So we need to decide what we're going to do with these chaps here. So the obvious place, I think, for you to consider, remembering we're trying to delay them as much as possible, I would suggest it would be somewhere like this area here, to force them into the swamp. So we'll grab him out of the swamp. So it's important when you're moving in units, you try and locate these special little choke points and that single entry attack that I mentioned on the approach to Pooperville. I'm sure you all remember I mentioned the 21st Panzer Division racing towards Caen from the southeast. So something you might want to consider, I haven't had a look at the Allied order of battle or anything, but I presume their air force will be overwhelming. So with some of your armoured units, you might want to consider putting them in forest hexes, perhaps so they don't get spotted from the air. Now, I don't know for certain whether they're spotted or not, but it could be an idea to try and hide some of your units away from visibility from your opponent, just to perhaps spring a surprise. Initially, when these British units here were further towards Caen, I was thinking about doing a little surrounding mission with these 21st Panzer guys to block this area around Herouvillette and the river, and perhaps block a number of these Brit guys in. But since they've pulled back, I'm probably going to be a bit more reserved about that sort of a move. But as you're moving your armoured units and any units from German side, if you do have the forest around the place, consider putting units in these locations just to keep them out of visibility of the bad guys. So we'll see how we go. The other things I've been doing, the usual sort of stuff like having just blocking units, so that as the Allies advance, they bump into a unit and they have to sort of knock that one over before they can advance another hex. So you're just sort of creeping backwards. And as I mentioned in previous videos, try and avoid being surrounded. It'll be inevitable that you'll get surrounded in certain locations. Perhaps this one here, like this pillbox area. Obviously I'm keeping those guys in there because they've got the value of the pillbox, and it'll be a bit of a pain for them to get those guys out of there. So they're always the decisions that you're having to make. Also, if you can, don't leave your artillery to be chewed up by the ground forces. Try and evacuate them in time so you can reset them up. So I'm going to try and make Caen something of a fortress in delaying the Allied advance. So we'll move on now to the German turn, 9 of 250 or 2000 hours on the 6th of June 1944. So the lead elements of 21 Panzer Division have finally reached the front, and we've been able to retake this minor victory location back from the British. So I'm considering running a minor counterattack with these lead elements, with the goal of securing these two locations here, or this gap between the forest and the river. That will provide us with a pretty good defensive position in which to thwart the inevitable Allied advance, given that it'll either force them to try and move through the forest, which is fine by us. That's reasonably easier to defend than the open terrain. There is a loose line, if you like, going across here to the west, with this forest line which I mentioned earlier. A little bit more, not as dense of course as here in the east, but nonetheless I think here in the east we should be able to hold this line, and I'm pretty reasonably confident that the next couple of turns, maybe tomorrow, we should be able to hopefully secure this defensive line. If not, we have this secondary line here with this forest, this village here, and the forest there. But the best result for us would be these 2 hexes here with a defence across there, and we'll see what the AI does about that. So this is the view of the east of Cairn at the end of our turn. So we've advanced on a broad front towards that line I was mentioning, and also I've sent this engineer unit here up along the east to go on a bit of a bridge blowing exercise. And really for the Germans at this part of the turn, all your engineer units should either be digging in somewhere or attempting to blow up a bridge. Just don't have them positioned as an infantry type unit, and try and sort of predict those areas which are more important to the Allies, which bridges are obviously more critical. As you can see, these 2 bridges over this dike area is I need to keep covered up that way. So looking further north, you can see here we are at Sword Beach. That's pretty well, they're breaking out of there. So this whole area here is going to come under increasing pressure. Maybe during the night turn we'll have to wait and see what the AI does, whether it tries to have a snooze or whether it'll push on, and I suggest that it'll push on. Over here I've obviously got my guy digging in here. It's obviously an important area, and I probably will try and blow that bridge as well, just to make it that little bit more difficult. So heading further across, Juno is well and truly busted open, and we're doing the old trick of bumping. A little trick that some of you might not be aware of is when you have a unit like this which is surrounded, they can move 1 hex if they can move to a unit, a hex filled with a unit. Like for instance this guy here, he could move 1 hex into here. So that gives you a chance to keep moving backwards, you know, the old 1 hex at a time, just to slow down the inevitable advance. No use trying to fight those guys. Disrupted, and we'll just have a look at the next beach. Was good old Omaha. This guy here's in a world of hurt. This guy here's in a world of hurt. So it's not going to be too long now before Omaha gives way. So we have a nice line along there, which will be a delay tactic. And as I mentioned previously, we'll try and force them to go through the swamp. Some sort of line along here, trying to utilise this area of terrain with the height and also the feature of the hex. And meanwhile over here at Utah, they make their way down as a hex at a time. That's fine by us. They've actually made a run across the swamp here, so it's all opening up, which is not good news for us. So at this stage it looks like the situation is the 21st Panzer Division racing up from the southeast and the Allies pushing down from the north. Carantan still there, so I've still got to do that turn there, but I think we can obviously hold in this area in here, and we're still to hold our defences over here, and elements of the Luftland Division are still moving across. So I'll continue now and do the remaining turns. If anything of interest turns up, I'll get back to you. So we move along to the 2200 hour German turn. And here we are in the Carantan Etienneville area of the map. And as you can see, the Luftland guys are flooding in to this area of the map to help this weak Renault armoured unit to defend this area just here with the bridge and the steel bridge here at Etienneville. I have two engineer units in location. I've just moved this one away from that conflict zone. Both engineer units have been trying to blow the steel bridge but have failed on both times. However, on a positive note, we should be able to get these guys digging in and put in some sort of screen along this side of the swamp to the south of this river, the La Dove. The Carantan guys, they've similarly moved to this end of the swamp, this detachment here, and they'll similarly dig in, and I'll consider getting an engineer unit in there if I have the luxury of blowing some of these steel bridges. This engineer unit here blew that bridge last turn. You have to be a little bit thoughtful about when you blow the bridges, because I still want to keep one bridge open for getting back across the dike area. Right, so I've moved all the see these guys here are digging in. I need to try and get these guys in supply if I can. Notice they're in yellow from, what is it, the 84th Army Corps, 84th Corps, yep. So that'll be my next sort of goal. We seem to be able to pin these guys here in this swamp area just over the bridge. And further to the north, so there's Utah Beach there, and we're sort of getting enough units to try and screen at least, and use these pillboxes as pivot points. Just need to get some more units into location, perhaps move them south, try and take these high levels here. In fact, this engineer unit broke that bridge there, or damaged that bridge there, using the high ground here with this village to dig in, so that'll be a pivot point of a line, and obviously that hex there will be something I'll consider getting someone down to. And you can see we're sort of building this line between these two swampy areas. So it's that blocking idea we've used previously with small locations, but due to the terrain, obviously it's a much broader front, but we're trying to use the obvious defensive features, or the features that offer us defensive advantage. So the other really interesting area of the map, I thought, was the one down here where the 21st Division guys were arriving at Caen. So as you can see here, we've managed to move up. This now, it's also a night turn, this one, so I have to be a little bit careful, because our 21 Division are actually in this detached mode as far as supply goes, and they're not exactly overwhelmingly powerful units with 4 vehicles each. Also of interest was the fact that the Airborne Division during their turn of actually making a run at this location here, which we one back from them in the previous turn. Also put this unit up here to perhaps have a go at nullifying this mortar unit. So let's see how we go. Only 4 vehicles once again. No effect. Now this guy, he's just in a village. Phew. So that gives you an idea just how weak these units are. We'll have a go at the infantry unit just to see if we can cause him no effect. Well, that really confirms that we're not exactly overwhelmingly powerful. So let's take this guy out of transport. Right. So he's got the flank. We can take advantage of this village, I think, so we should move them up. So, notice this guy's at an elevation of 25 metres. And we are at an elevation of 0. So we're firing uphill, so the defender gets the advantage. So I think it's going to be, if we're going to succeed at my idea of grabbing these hexes and these victory locations, I'm probably going to have to come from this side. Because notice that this hex here is 25 metres, that village is 25 metres, and etc. So that's the way we'll do that. Well, let's see how our infantry unit goes. Low ammo, 200 men, so not exactly the most powerful unit. We'll stick out. Gee, 2 men. Rightio. Oops. So what I might do here is be a little bit cautious, perhaps wait until daylight. Put him in there. That's only a clear hex. All these are clear hexes, I think. We've got that village, which is the... Wow. Both of them were disrupted. Morale D. Okay, so we can't get overly excited about our 21 Panzer Division, I don't think. So what I might do now is move some of these other guys around. So our engineer unit, I suppose we should be thinking about either digging in or blowing bridges. Okay. So these guys are morale C, groups of 5 and 6 vehicles. These chaps coming up, 197 men. Notice they're in the detached mode, so we can't get too excited with them. Yeah, so we're getting some numbers of units at this stage, but not exactly overwhelmingly powerful. Well, that's not too bad. Heavy weapons, soft 10 at 3, so that's quite encouraging. Wow, he's disrupted. Okay, so we need to be careful there. Rightio, so I'll get on now and finish doing my moves for the German for this turn, which is turn 10 of 250. I think you can see this is shaping up as an interesting scenario. We have the, as I said, the 29th Division coming from the southeast. The Allies are about to break out, and we're scrambling to find defensive positions, and the Allies just want to obviously get their advance underway. But I think given the weakness of these German units, I may in fact let them rest a little bit and don't move them too much. And as I mentioned, these guys are only 6 and 5 vehicles, and they don't seem that well. For instance, let's have a go with this guy. 3 vehicles. I don't expect that to be too successful, but let's have a shot. And that confirms my point. Also, I hope you've enjoyed my presentation of Operation Overlord, the opening day. Right, so this could be my last video on Normandy. The Wargaming Club is about to start a 4th round of its Panzer Campaigns tournament. So I'm speaking on the what's the date today? The 15th of January. So if you're interested in partaking in the tournament, get yourself onto Discord, the Wargaming Club, and go to the Panzer Campaigns area and sign up. All you have to do is have at least one Panzer Campaigns title, and that will make you eligible to participate in the tournament. And you can choose your side, Axis or Allies, of course. So I hope to see as many of you over there at the Wargaming Club as possible, and I may consider presenting a video series on the tournament game that I play. So we'll see how that develops. So thanks for following my Normandy series, and enjoy your gaming. Cheers.